lovely mermaids. So today I have Daisy with me, which means if there's any noise or movement on the tripod or I'm slightly distracted, it's because of this one. She's not being a very good girl today. So I've had so many questions about my skin. My skincare, my skin routine, whatever. So today I just wanted to talk to you about my skin story. So I'm not going to be talking about I'll be talking a little bit about my skincare, but not my current skincare. Because before I do those skin videos, skincare routine, what I'm using, what I'm trying out that has to do with skincare, I need to tell you my skincare story so you can understand why I do what I do. It's a kind of a long story. I'm gonna try and keep it a little bit short, but you guys need to know it, and I was going to tell it to you guys anyways because so many people have been asking me about my skin, like on YouTube, on Instagram, IRL, and they're always like, your skin is flawless, what do you do? And I've had requests because of the Jeffree Star Cosmetics to talk about my skin, and everyone's like, oh, your skin's so flawless and blah blah blah. Okay, first off, there is no such thing as flawless because I had to go through hell with my skin in order for it to get like this. There's no such thing as flawless, no such thing as perfection, because I had to go on this journey, this long, hard, grueling, torturous journey in order to get this skin. And just a note for this video, I am wearing very minimal face makeup because I wanted to show you kind of like my natural complexion, my natural skin tone. So, because I felt like that was needed in order for me to do this skincare video, so I didn't take on makeup. So, anyways, I'm just gonna start talking about my hellish skincare story. Okay, so I'm 25, and during my terrible, teenage years, middle school years, puberty years, all that fun stuff, my skin was a wreck. My complexion was just a mess. I always had acne, always had redness, I've always had oiliness and dryness and irritation, and some of that still follows me to this day. When I was growing up, so between 15 and up until 19, I had terrible acne. I might insert a photo just to show you guys, to kind of show a before and an after. I tried everything, guys. When I was 14, I really started getting a lot of acne in high school. That's when I noticed most of my skin irritations. So I tried everything. I tried Noxzema, was the first one I tried, and it never worked. Never, ever, ever. I tried Neutrogena. To this day, I am never, ever, ever going to do a review for any Neutrogena products because all of their acne treatments and even their makeup irritates my skin. I am allergic to it. I get red immediately. My skin gets dry immediately. So just never, ever. I have some of the worst dry skin because of Neutrogena acne medicine, and maybe they've changed the formula since when I've tried it, but I mean, going through what I've been through, once you try it and it kind of sucks, I'm not willing to try that again. Not Neutrogena, at least. I have tried Burt's Bees. I still use a little bit. It doesn't work for me. I have used Simple. Doesn't work. I have used, any drugstore acne facial medicine you can name. I have tried it and it never worked for me. When I was 18, I decided to try Proactive. Proactive worked for 2 months, a couple months, and then it dried out my skin terribly to the point of another irritation and another allergic reaction. So basically every skin care product I ever tried up until I was 21, 22 had either not worked, or it did work and I was allergic to it, or it dried out my skin terribly, or it worked and then after a bit of using it, my skin became immune to it. Like, I would still get acne even though I'm like using it like twice a day, or you know, whatever the directions say. I thought it was all lost for me. My hope was, you know, having skin like beautiful or perfect enough skin, it's really a game changer. Because when I had acne and all these red blotches and spots and everywhere, and they would never go away, even when I would use makeup over it, like oil-free makeup, it's a really self-esteem killer. And I will share more stories about what else was going on during this time. So I was just in a really, really low place, emotionally and physically, and I was depressed because of my skin. Okay, like, I was already being bullied for other things. I was already, you know, having my back stabbed metaphorically a couple times. Skin is just, it gives you confidence. Okay, you know when you're talking to someone and if you don't have a pimple, they're actually looking at your face and listening to you. Whereas if you have a giant zit, like on your mouth or on your cheek, you feel like all they see is acne and that's it. So it's really a self-esteem killer, and I was so tired of this because nothing was working for me. Okay, so finally, when I was 21, I was finally able to go see a dermatologist because, you know, money-wise, and because I was old enough to kind of be at that stage of trying to figure out what your skin is doing. When you're growing up, I mean, you just assume it's hormones, your body's going through these changes, blah, blah, blah. Your acne should like naturally start to die down, at least when you're in your 20s, like depending on your skin type. And that wasn't happening for me. So when I was 2021, I went and saw a dermatologist. Okay, the first thing he gave me was some cleanser, you know, the facial stuff. The first one he gave me was Epiduo. It broke me out. It made my skin so dry after one use. 1 or 2 uses. This is how I know that this acne medicine is not going to work for me, is when, because it instantly dries me out. Like right after I like clean my face, make sure it's rinsed off and blah, blah, blah. And the next day, like, it's just awful. I can't keep doing that. My skin is just, it's already sensitive. It's already dry in itself. And the acne medicine does not, you know, help that situation any better. So after going through a few more like ointments and like knowing my past about these ointments and like my immunity to them and blah blah blah, he finally decided to put me on these pills that can help lessen and prevent acne. Before you like ask your dermatologist this, this is a last resort. The pills are the last resort, and you have to be at least in, I don't think you have to be in your 20s, but you have to have had like enough experience and enough experiments to see if you qualify for these pills. So don't ask me why I still have these pills, because where I live, there's nowhere like to dispose of them. And plus, you know, now I can show them to you guys. So this is Doxycycline, and I was using it in 2011, and they look like this. They're like little mint green pills, and you're supposed to take them twice a day. And I don't use these anymore, okay? Like, they're so expired. You're supposed to take them twice a day. Now, okay, my first time doing this, okay, my dermatologist told me that you're supposed to take them an hour before you eat. However, in the past, some patients have thrown up because this would make them nauseated and so they'd throw up. So he recommended eating and then taking these. I should have listened to him, because then when you go to pick these up from the pharmacist, he was like, you have to eat these an hour. You have to take one an hour before you eat, like right in the morning, breakfast. I listened to the pharmacist and I took one, and you know, on an empty stomach, hadn't eaten or drinking anything. So I took one and I was doing okay, and then about 50 minutes in, so 10 minutes before I can eat, I got sick. Okay, I felt so nauseous, so sweaty, so clammy, I threw up. So, lesson learned, if you're going to take these, listen to the dermatologist, not the pharmacist. So, I was on these for about 2 months, because you have to try an acne medicine, even if it's like a cream and you know, a foam or a cleanser. You have to try it at least for up to 2 months in order for to see if it's gonna work, to see if there's an effect to it. She's crunching on a bottle. Chew on that. So I was on them for about a month to 2 months, and it was working. Made my skin a little bit oily though, like more oily than normal. My skin's really not ever oily. So after a couple months, it stopped working. My body became immune to it. Daisy, this is, you know, a trying, you know, a heart to heart. Where was I? Daisy. Hey, get this. So after trying that, my skin became immune to it. It wasn't working. I was getting zits. I was getting irritations, pimples everywhere. It was a mess. So after telling him that, I went to the very last resort, because as far as I know, what my dermatologist told me, there are only like 2 types of acne medications by the mouth, orally. So the next one is insane. The next one is called Accutane, and it's associated with this company, this organization called I Pledge. So, before you go on Accutane, which is this, and it's called Accutane because that is the #1 ingredient in this. So, this is, like the brand or whatever is Clarivis. And then, these orange pills. Now, as you will see, causes birth defects, do not get pregnant. Birth defect picture. All of these little pictures with a little pregnant person with a circle and an X through it. So, in order to do Accutane, you have to be a part of the I Pledge program. You have to sign up for it, and you have to take a test. You have to take a pregnancy test before you go on it, and you have to take a pregnancy test what did I do? I think every other week I went in and saw the doctor at least once a month. You take a pregnancy test. And after you would get another like prescription for Accutane, you would have to go online and take a test. The dermatologist also gave me this I Pledge book. You had to read it, you had to learn it. They really, really wanted to pound it into you that this causes birth defects. You also have to be on 2 types of birth control or abstinence. And so you have to vow abstinence, and you cannot have sex like 6 months or 3 months before and 6 months after, or a month after. It's this whole thing. It's all in the book. Okay, so you cannot have the risk of getting pregnant at all. If you are having sex, you have to be on 2 types. You have to be on a birth control and something else. A condom, I don't think was like, that wasn't an option. So it's like you had to have not had a risk of being pregnant You had to be on Accutane for at least 6 months, no sex during the 6 months, and you a month after you like have ended it, say like you ended on month 6, so for month 7 you can't have sex because the medicine is still like in your system and it can still affect whatever unborn child you may be bearing. That's one big thing that apparently Acne Medicine, at least this one, could cause childbirth defects, and they were covering their asses to make sure I knew to not get pregnant while I was taking this. Okay, so I had to take these twice a day? No. Yes, 1 capsule twice a day. They'd give you this huge box that would have 4 of these things, and this would cover for, I think, about a month. This was in 2012, so I was 22. 22, I was doing this. Oh my god. Okay, so you're supposed to be on Accutane for 6 months. Month, 2.5, I was already starting to see results. Actually, after my first visit, I was starting to see results. But at month 2, I was getting pretty clear, and I was getting so tired of Accutane. At month 2 and 3, I was really starting to feel the side effects of this. Okay, also, mind you, I was taking this when, come here, baby, when I was 22. I was already going through depression because of my dad's death, but he died when I was 19. But I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life in college, all that grown-up stuff. And one of the side effects was from this medicine of Accutane was depression, suicide thoughts, dry skin, nausea, bleeding, like internally, blah, blah, blah. Around month 3, I was so over this medicine. My skin looked great, and it was so fucking dry. Sorry for my French, but it was so dry, okay? I would put lotion on, like Aveeno, that I'd be able to use, and Aveeno always worked for me. It didn't do anything. I would try every kind of chapstick. My lips were a wreck by 2.5 months after using Accutane. They were so dry, so chapped. I tried every kind of chapstick. The chapstick I used, Aveeno, Burt's Bees, and then the dermatologist told me to go on Nivea. Nothing worked. I was so miserable, so dehydrated, and every time I take a drink of water, you would think that would help, you know, that's supposed to make you hydrated. No. On top of that, I already get pretty bad headaches, but with Accutane, I was having constant migraines for about a month, and nothing was working. Tylenol wasn't working. Advil, whatever medicine you can think of, it wasn't working. My dermatologist told me to take those while taking Accutane to try and help. It didn't. I was miserable. I had the worst migraines. I was having a lot of suicide thoughts, a lot of depression, and it was because of the medicine. Thankfully, month 3, my dermatologist gave me the clear that I could go off of it. Usually, it takes a person 6 months to get off of this, and I felt like I was dying at 2.5 months. If my dermatologist told me, like, oh, you still have to keep going after 3 months, I would have stopped. I would have quit. I would have quit. Like, if my dermatologist told me that I had to keep on taking this medicine, I couldn't take any more of it. I was so irritated. I was snapping at everyone. I was a bitch to everyone. I was miserable. My skin was so dry. It was so clear. No acne, no redness. It was beautiful. But nothing was moisturizing it, and it was awful. I went off of Accutane, and I had to also go take a blood lipid test because my blood pressure, I should have been dead. Okay, my blood pressure was really, really, really bad, and they were like, oh, go take this lipid, Daisy, this lipid panel test. to make sure it was because of the medicine. Thankfully, it was because of the medicine, because after a month of being off of it, I went back for the lipid test to make sure about like my blood, you know, my blood panel and whatever, all the stuff that's going inside, and it was perfectly fine and normal. I've always had amazing blood pressure, and this thing screwed it up. So that is basically my skincare story. Is Doxycycline and Accutane. It took about a month of getting off of Accutane before my skin settled down, settled back to kind of not normal, because normal for me would have been more acne, you know, because normal is like something that's been there before. So finally I was able to put chapstick on, and it worked. My skin stopped. My lips were so chapped, they were constantly peeling. It was a nightmare. So about after a month, it died down. I was warned that I would still be getting some acne right before I start my period. And I do, but just around my mouth, and that's generally where all the all the acne due to hormones pop up, is around your mouth. So I only get like 2 or 3. Oh, no one wants to talk to me unless I'm filming. Oh, you're sleepy. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so yeah, after about a month off of Accutane, it went back to normal. I still get acne around my mouth. I have been off of it for 3 years. I can't do math. I can't do math. 12, 13, 14, for 3 years. Okay, so that happened when I was 22, and it was awful. I would not recommend someone going on Accutane. However, if you really, you know, unless it's a very last resort, as you can see, it helped. Okay, it's very clear. I have mild redness. I still have dryness. I still have sensitive skin. That's never gonna change. But at least moisturizers work for me, whereas on Accutane they weren't. So there you go. I have flawless skin because I went through hell for it. You gotta work for what you want. That's the lesson I can say. But if someone asked me, and I've had people ask me, my roommate and my friends ask me if I would recommend Accutane, I'd say no, because I was completely miserable, and if you're sexually active, it's gonna suck for you. So there you go. That is my skin story, as it says in the title below and on the title before the video. If you guys want me to do like my skincare routine, give it a thumbs up. I will. It's quite different from other people because I don't break out, knock on wood, because I'm always scared of like trying different things. Feeling like that might stress out my skin and cause a breakout. So that's why I'm kind of scared, because I went through horrors to get the skin I have now, and I like to keep it this way for forever. I was gonna say for as long as I can, but forever would be lovely. That's my skin story. Thank you for requesting it, and hopefully you're still watching it and made it to the end. I really want to continue going on through like skincare videos, because skin is important. It's the skin you're in. You're living in it. It's yours. It needs to be taken care of pretty much no matter what the cost, I want to say. But Accutane really made me miserable for 3 months. It was one of the worst like things I've had to gone through. Just if you guys want to know my skincare routine, give this video a thumbs up. I also have other stories. Okay, my teeth, another nightmare story. So that's why I block and delete comments who make, you know, fun or negative remarks at my teeth, because honey, I bet I went through so much hell to get the teeth I have now. I made an effort in getting these teeth and how they are right now compared to how they were before, and you have not. So leave the teeth alone, and that's enough of that rant. I know, you're sleepy. She's she just like fell over on my leg. So thank you so much for watching. I love you guys so much. Have a magical day. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. You say goodbye, Daisy? Bye-bye. Bye-bye.